Much of Newfoundland and Labrador's culture has been built on the telling of stories, and there is no better storyteller than this year's awards recipient. They have featured endless, interesting stories of our people and the relationship with the sea, and they've been doing this for over 50 years now. This year, we are both delighted and proud to recognize CBC's Land and Sea as our award recipient for the Historical Marine Significance Award.
Well, actually, I started before Land and Sea existed, so I'd really had no vision of what sort of a situation I was getting into. They told me a new show was starting up. Television was coming to Newfoundland, and CBC radio was expanding into television. And they said, hey, there's a good show coming up, or we hope it'll be a good show. We're going to call it Land and Sea, and maybe you would fit in. I said, well, I was young, let's try it.
What we had going for us is that when we made a phone call to a person in the community in Newfoundland and asked if we could come into their homes, into their community and do a story, they were immediately receptive to it because Land and Sea had a reputation for being honest and sincere. It was to do something that they could probably be proud of, that they knew they would be proud of.
When we started, we were shooting black and white film. And would you believe we had to send it to Halifax to be developed, then wait for it to come here, and then edit it, of course. Hopefully it was okay. The quality now that Pauline is putting together is astounding, and she's so good at getting people to open up and tell their own stories their own way.
Land and Sea has been around for 54 years. And there have been a lot of changes in Newfoundland and Labrador over the last 54 years. A lot of changes in the fishery, a lot of changes in the marine industry, and it's all been documented. Somebody once said, you know, working for the show, it's like doing a thesis on Newfoundland culture. It's a huge body of work. And no, I don't think it would have been documented in the same way as it has been if not for Land and Sea.
Pauline Thornhill was made for Land and Sea, and Land and Sea was made for Pauline Thornhill. I mean, first off, she is just a tremendous journalist. And then has this great empathy for Newfoundland.
I always loved Land and Sea because I was a news reporter working for Here and Now before I got this job. The stories appealed to me because I was raised out around the Bay. I'm a Bay girl. And I could relate to a lot of the people I was seeing on Land and Sea. I could relate to some of the places I was seeing on Land and Sea. And then I just got lucky. I contributed for a couple of seasons. I did 2 shows the first year, 5 shows the next year, and then the job came up. And I was just lucky enough, fortunate enough to get it.
People often said, look, we don't mind if the show is not about our community, but we're interested in seeing what's happening in the next bay, in the next cove, and places we haven't seen, we've heard of in the news and on the radio or whatever, and now suddenly here it is on film in our living rooms. We can see how other families, other people live, their problems, and what they think of life. It gives us a chance to see the rest of Newfoundland.
It's local, and it showcases our culture, our traditions, our industries. So I think it's very real. It's very real to people here for those reasons.
Part of the CBC mandate that has been there right from its creation has been to reflect, Canada to Canadians. And in our case, and we are a bit different here and a bit unique. Not just a bit, we are very unique. And is to reflect, Newfoundland to Newfoundlanders, Newfoundland viewers. It epitomizes that mandate to reflect Newfoundland to Newfoundlanders. We'd go out into the communities and always looking for just ordinary souls who perhaps were doing something extraordinary, but it was always very personal. It wasn't so much issue oriented, it was always about people. Because you can't get the kind of programming that Land and Sea provides anywhere else.
There'll always be stories out there. There's new stories coming all the time, and there'll never be an absence of stories in Newfoundland. This place is a treasure trove, a gold mine.
It's not just journalism, you know. It's Land and Sea is really who we are as a province, as Newfoundlanders and Labradorians.
I think it just educates people as to who we are, what we are as a province, what we do, the way we talk, the way we sound, our music. It makes everybody want to come to Newfoundland.